Welcome back to our show. We are only 15 days away from the biggest moment in our history. Election Day is November 3rd. As you all know, today is the last day to register to vote. If you are not registered in Pennsylvania, please check all your states for information regarding the deadline for registration, mailing ballot. And this has been an all election candidate discussion since June. And I want to thank everyone for hanging in there, listening to us, following us, and giving our candidate the chance to express the reason why they're running and to get to know them a little bit. Today is a very special day. I've been waiting for this day a long time, since the day I learned about Janelle and she's running to become a candidate in the District 199. I followed her footsteps. I followed her website, her Facebook page. She is an all-rounded, amazing candidate that we will all be honored to have her as our representative. I don't want to spoil everything. Without further ado, I will have Janelle introduce herself. Hello, Janelle, and welcome. Thank you for giving us your time. And if you don't mind, can you introduce yourself to our listeners and let them know a little bit about you?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Hagir, for the opportunity to be on your show and to be able to address the people of the 199th District of Cumberland County. My name is Janelle Crossley. I'm running for the PA House District 199 in Cumberland County, PA. I was born and raised in Cumberland County 63 years ago. I was born in Wormleysburg, and once I got married, we moved to Mechanicsburg. And then from there, we lived about 23 years, and now we've been in Newville for about 17. Throughout my years of life, basically, I guess I could say, I was a different person. I knew I wasn't who I was born to be. And for those of you that do not know, I am the first openly transgender woman to run for state elected office in PA. And don't get me wrong, that is not why I'm running. I only make exceptions to that reveal on certain areas, and this is one of the areas that, I did want to reveal my identity. To me, that is by my business and nobody else's, so, I kind of keep it quiet. So anyway, throughout my younger years, I was beat up, I was bullied, I was went to school. I had to come home early because I was all bloody because the kids always beat me up because I was different. And that went on throughout my whole life as far as up into my early teen years. Once I was a little bit old enough to fight for myself, I would try to fight back, but the gangs were just that big that they overwhelmed me and I couldn't handle it. But anyway, it's a very long story. It's a very, very drawn out life to live. And this is one reason why in my campaign, I am supporting equality for all peoples. Later on in life, I got married and we are entering into our 41st year of marriage and we are still together. I have one daughter and I have two grandkids and everybody is fine with who I am. So once we got married, we had issues as far as our marriage, just like everybody else does, but I think ours were a little bit deeper. My wife and I, we took our vows for better or worse, and we really meant that. So whatever came our way, we fought through it, we battled through it. She's a very strong person, and I'm so glad that we were able to make it out, and have our marriage continue until death do us part, like our vows said. So to jump ahead quite a bit, about 10 years ago was the day I decided I had to transition. I attempted suicide about 2 weeks before that, and luckily I'm still here. But it happens to many, many people, not only in the trans community, but in the LGBT community. as well as killed kids now with bullying, harassment in school and, with their peers. So anyway, once I transitioned, I promised myself that I was going to advocate for those that are discriminated against and bullied and harassed.
Mhm.
And I started out with my advocacy, dedicating it to going after the bigots and the haters. And I'm going to take off my hat. For those of you that wonder why I had my hat on, I was going around my property on my broom to make sure nobody was stealing my Biden signs.
It's Halloween time, first of all, everyone.
Yeah.
And
So anyway.
Costume. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, in my advocacy, I dedicated my advocacy early on to going after all the haters and the bigots, like the American Family Association, Alliance Defending Freedom, and some other organizations, as well as our local legislators. I wanted to meet with them. I wanted to find out what their concerns were, of why they were so much against the LGBT community. And I found out a lot of it was because, especially the trans community, that they never met or even talked to a trans person before. I think one of my highlights of speaking with the haters and the bigots was a year ago on March. I met with Westboro Baptist Church. That was the worst meeting that I ever had with all the haters that I met with. I was in there 2.5 hours and I took nothing but a beating, not physically, but mentally. But I went in there because I wanted to listen to their concerns and why, they were against the LGBT community and why their actions are the way they are. But like I said, they ran the show. I didn't have much time to say anything. We were into the meeting about 2 hours, and the one woman said that they flew in from Oklahoma. She said to me, she says, I can pick out a trans person no matter where I'm at. I said, oh, you could. I said, I'll give you a group of 100 people, and I'll guarantee you there's 10 to 15 trans people in that group of 100 people. And she said, well, I could pick every one of them out. And I said, oh, you could you? I said, do you understand that you were talking with one now for 2 hours?
Oh, wow.
And her eyes got as big as saucers, her jaw all but hit the table. She didn't have no idea who I was, and I didn't reveal that. The woman that was with her, I could tell that I planted a seed in her because of her actions and a tone of voice. When I was asking questions after that, she was embarrassed of what she was saying. So, it takes us advocates to go out there and bring visibility, awareness, and education. And that's what I've been doing the past 10 years. I recently extended my advocacy into bullying and harassment of children in school and out of school. I am very busy doing that. Right now, I got about 4 cases that I'm working on. It just breaks my heart knowing that, a child can go to school and supposed to be going to school to learn, to become an adult, to be able to survive, out in the world with all kinds of people, all diversity. And they come home and they're bullied, they're bloody, it's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I went through it, I know. And the reason I'm doing it is because if I could help somebody not go through something that I did, that to me, I made a difference. Even if it's only one child, I made a difference. So I've been pretty successful, as a lot of people in the area know, a lot of people in the LGBT community in Pennsylvania know. I am the sole advocate. I work on my own. Although I am a representative for Southeastern South Pennsylvania Trans Advocacy of PA, and they are the only trans inclusive advocacy group in the state of Pennsylvania. We have representatives stationed throughout the state, and we are very busy also. So
you are an amazing advocate, and your story itself, I know You just give us highlights, and I'm sure everyone out there can relate to what you said in a way. You don't have to be a transgender. You don't have to be part of the LGBT community. You know, any one of us as human, and that's what we are trying to make people see. We are all human. We struggle. My struggle might be different than your struggle. Janelle's struggle might be different, but we all faced obstacles. We all wanted to live peacefully. We all wanted to achieve what we are trying to achieve without being, like you said, worried about how people think about us or losing our rights just because someone does not agree with our sexual preferences. And this is a big thing. And I just want to thank you before you continue talking for being the voice for the voiceless. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm sure you face so many obstacles just to talk about it, just to come out and try to be an advocate for a group that many people consider just something it's not normal, and that's something we all have to discuss. Racism issues, sexual preferences, those are not something that is up for debate. Those are issues that we face, and we cannot just turn away and say they don't exist, hoping that it will go away. We have to discuss it, and I want to thank you for bringing the light, Janelle. Continue.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think the biggest obstacle in my advocacy through the past 10 years was not so much for me, but for my family.
Mm-hmm.
They were afraid every time that I would go out and meet with a group or individuals that I would never come home. You know, that is, it hits your heart. But it's always on your mind. And you know, no matter where I'm at, I'm constantly looking around. I'm constantly scanning the area. I'm constantly well aware of where I'm at. And, you know, people should not have to live like that.
Thank you.
You know, people shouldn't be able to go out and do what they need to do what they want to do, as long as it's not hurting them or anybody else. And be them, be themselves. You know, and I keep stressing that to people, you know, working with individuals coming out as trans, working with individuals in transition,
Mm-hmm.
you know, trying to get them to be able to transition in their jobs, get health care. Health care is a big thing in the trans community. And fortunately, I did a lot of research and I'm able to get people the health care that they need.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's so much involved to it, and there's so little, I guess, advocates out there, you know, to do all that needs to be done. And, you know, that's why I always stress, you know, the people, our society are our allies. We need to build our allies, and our allies are our best tool right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like fighting a war. We have to build an army to win a war. And, you know, I look at it this way, that it is a war. We have a lot of women of color in the trans community being killed. I think we're up to maybe 28 or 30 some murders already this year of trans people. You know, it's sad.
Very.
You know, and they're picking on women of color for whatever reason, and we don't know.
Because you know that we do know, Janelle. You know, being a Black person is a minus in the country.
Oh yeah.
Being a Black person who is a transgender or LGBT, that will add insult to the wound, and there are targeted. But that's, you know, that's something we, like you said, we know and unfortunate. But all colors are facing this discrimination. They're facing, you know, being, no one's supposed to be looking behind their back. And like you said at the beginning, it made me choked up a little bit that in 2020, you know,
Right.
we are still discussing simple, basic human rights. I don't care what color you are, what is your sexual preferences, what your sex, what your religion. As long as you're not doing something to hurt me or hurt others, You should be able to express yourself and live the way. I don't know how that is affecting anyone. You know, that if you accept someone who is different than you, that doesn't mean you have to be them. And I think
Right.
that's the problem we're facing here. And that's not just with sexual preferences, Janelle. I mean, for you to decide, and I know there is a lot to your story, and we'll continue talking about that. But for you to decide enough is enough. You had to
Right.
stand up for yourself during the school, in your community, everywhere. Before you tell us what made you or led you to decide to become an activist, how is the community around you? How accepting of you and your preferences?
To be honest, when I first started my advocacy, it was very, very conservative. Um, the borough of Carlisle, I forget, I think it was 2016, they adopted a non-discrimination ordinance for the borough. And I was involved in that. And I think from that day on, that our area became more and more less conservative.
Mhm.
You know, don't get me wrong, we have problems. Individuals have problems. Somebody just came to me the other day that they're being misgendered and using the wrong pronouns on their job. And they had a conversation with the employer, and the employer didn't want to change. So I will be going to that employer probably next week. But, you know, all in all, I think it has improved in our area. I think some people might disagree with that, but, you know, everybody has their own thoughts, their own preferences. Everybody presents themselves in their own way. You know, I'm a firm believer in how you succeed is in how you present yourself.
Agree.
You know, if you're going to present yourself derogatorily or not in a very well way, you know, that's what draws attention to you.
Mhm.
You know, we want to, you know, at least I did, you know, when I transitioned, I wanted to fit in. You know, I wanted to be who I really am. You know, I didn't want to stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
You know? But you know, there is people that I've worked with, and I could not change them, and that's what they wanted to be. You know, they wanted to be that sore thumb because, from my observation, they didn't get any attention when they were young.
Mhm.
You know, so now they're older and they can do this to get their attention. And you know, and don't get me wrong, you know, it's not everybody, and it's not only the trans community that goes through this, it's everybody. You know, so each individual is their own individual, and you know, we as advocates need to understand that.
Basically, that's
We
what
as we as
you to decide. I can't stand and watch. I want to do something.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I knew I couldn't stand and watch because of what happened to me.
Mhm.
You know, and if I, like I said earlier, if I could make it that something doesn't happen to somebody that happened to me, that's what I want to do. You know, if I'm walking down the street, and this has happened already, and this happened a few years ago before my transition, that I saw a woman in a parking lot getting slapped around by a guy. And I walked over and I just stood there and I stared him in the face, and he just kept doing it. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "It's none of your business." I said, "Yeah, it is my business." I said, "Leave her alone." Um, so to go back a little bit in my earlier days, to try to prove my machoism, I guess I could call it, you know, my male dominance, I guess. You know, I got into weightlifting. I was a bodybuilder and I was pretty big.
Mhm.
I got into judo and all kinds of stuff like that. And, you know, that training paid off at that situation because I had to take that guy away. You know, I broke his arm, I broke his shoulder, and I had to go to court, you know, but it was worth it. You know, I saved that girl's life, maybe. You know, so, you know, I am not afraid to stand up to myself. You know, I will not get stomped on. Um, I will do what I need to do to my last breath to survive.
And that's what we need. We need someone who will stand. We need to get back to helping each other, help who is in need. If you see something, if you see something wrong, say something and do something to help. We cannot, we're becoming more of a society that will stand by and videotape and record and not do a thing. And I said that when I saw all the videos, even George Floyd and all the victims before him. It's good to record, to have that. If it wasn't recorded, we won't be able to see it or try to do something. But if it's me standing there, I would have done something, even if it cost my life. And we need to all learn to step in and help someone in need. And for that, we do need a leader that we know she will be in the front line, or he will be in the front line fighting for us. We need to choose the one that is going to be there for the people, be there for their district. And for the 199 district, what are the issues that made you decide I am going to run this year?
The main issue that made my decision to run was my advocacy. Throughout my advocacy in my past 10 years, I've seen so much that needed change. I worked with so many people that keep saying, we need change, we need change. So I just kept, I guess, collaborating all this information, on paper and in my head. One day I just sat down and I looked at this. I said, I've been successful as an advocate. I've helped a lot of people. I was visible, and I made awareness and educated of what my advocacy was built on, visibility, or awareness and education. And, I knew that if I decided to run for state representative, that I could do this job, and I can make change, and I will make change. The people want change, and the only way the people are going to get change is the people have to make that change. And the way to start making that change is to vote on November 3rd. Voting is so important now, and I'm hoping that the people will see the work that I've done, my activism within the community. I am a big sister of big brothers and big sisters. I'm the first trans woman to ever do that. I am on the CASA program. I'm a liaison for gender identity kids in the CASA. I'm on the Cumberland County Roundtable, a couple of the boards in the community, and I try to be as visible as I possibly can. And that visibility, gives people that awareness that you are out there, and you are doing what you say you're doing. It's kind of funny because, just to jump ahead a little bit, I did a listening event not too long ago, and the one woman asked me, she said, Janelle, on your first day in the House, if you're elected, or I should say when I'm elected.
Yes. I don't like the if with you, Janelle. When you are elected.
I know. So anyway, she said, what were you going to do the first day that you're in the House when you're elected, and the seasoned legislators come up to you and say, Janelle, you need to do this, or you need to do that, or you have to be on this committee, or you have to be on that committee. And my answer to her was, I would just tell them, I don't have to do anything. I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to be stomped on. I'm not going to be drug into the cliques that a lot of the legislators are drug into. We have a leader right now that is like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a follower. I'm a doer. And I've been a doer all my life. And I'm not going to stop now. If anything, it's going to get stronger.
And you are there. I think the point that you were trying to get across is that you are there to do for the people and to do what you promised in your campaign. you promised your district that you are going to do specific thing, you are going to focus on specific issues, and that's what is going to be your main focus. Janelle is not going to be someone who will follow just to fit in. She will be the one that is going to make sure that all the issues that are addressed, even if she's the only one standing there, and making sure they are done. And with that, some of the issues that I had in your website and you are passionate about, the first one you said, fair districting in Pennsylvania. What do you mean by that?
Fair districting in Pennsylvania, I support a citizens committee for redistricting. I feel that every voter has a say in the way the districts are drawn. We need equal voting, and we don't have that now. So I do support fair districting, 100%. And I think it's next year that the drawing for the districts is up again. And, I hope when I'm elected, I'm going to be part of that. But I need the people's help. My motto is, for my campaign, I will work for the people and with the people. The people are my boss. The people will be paying my salary. I need to work for them. I need to work with them because the people need to know what I'm doing. If I write a bill or if I come up with some kind of legislation or something like that, the people need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen now. There's no communication. You need communication. And I learned a long time ago, especially throughout my marriage, that without communication, you will not get honesty, trust, and respect. I'm a firm believer in communication is the key word. And it worked in my marriage, and it's been working with people that I've been working with. Communication, honesty, trust, and respect. That's the way it goes. And that communication with your constituents is very, very, very important. And that goes into the redistricting issues. That communication has to be communicated both ways. You cannot resolve an issue from one side. You just can't do it. And that's what's happening now. One side's trying to make all the rules and all the laws and what have you, and it doesn't work. So you need to sit down and you need to hear it from both sides. That's what I've been doing, all my life, and I will continue doing that because it works. And so that's my view on redistricting.
And that will affect, as we all know and talked about many times, the gerrymandering is the reason that we have areas that are targeted based on their population, based on their skin color, based on, what political party they're following. And it is going to affect who will be your leader the next time if you don't go out and vote. Having this issue with the district, like districting, this is affect also the school system. It affect our housing. It affect our healthcare. And it's definitely going to affect the next issue that you have on your website, nursing home care and nursing home staffing. I mean, those are two big topic that you have. And as a nurse myself, and I'm sure there's few of our listeners here, I see their names, nurses as well. This is going to affect us greatly. And I would love to hear what is your plan for the nursing home care, and followed by the nursing home staffing.
Well, first of all, my career was facilities and property management for over 30 years. And 25 plus of those 30 years was in healthcare. I've worked in healthcare, either in the insurance end of it or in the medical end of it. And most recently, the past 18 years, I worked in a nursing home. Um, after my first few days working in a nursing home, I came home crying, and I told my wife, I said, I can't do this. You know, I just can't do it. I saw so much happening. But I knew I had to hang in there because I'm not a quitter. My grandfather always taught us never give up, you know, and I never did give up, and I never will give up. But, you know, I hung in there, and I made an 18-year career out of that. And if people only knew what happens inside the walls of a nursing home. And I'm not saying every nursing home is the same. There are some out there that are very, very well run. But then again, you got some out there that shouldn't even be open.
Yeah.
You know, and we as individuals and we as families, you know, we get to the point sometimes in our lives where, you know, our parents can't take care of themselves and we can't take care of them for whatever reason. And we have to put them in a home. We need to know that they're going to be taken care of and they're going to be respected. You know, they're going to be giving the right meds at the right times. You know, they're going to have a safe place to stay. That's not happening in a lot of homes. And trust me, I've seen it. I've seen a lot. And I think it's time that society knows what happens inside those walls. That's the only way we're going to correct it. You know, I was just talking with the CNA the other day, and she was telling me that, you know, she doesn't see anything wrong with her facility. And I know the facility she works in, and I know there is big problems there. And we were talking about nursing home care, and she was saying, well, what did you do when you saw somebody abusing a resident? I said, our policies were we were supposed to report it. We were supposed to report it to our administrator or our supervisor. And so many people, not myself, but so many people I've seen do that. They were terminated. They were terminated for doing the right thing. Only because, or partly because, when something like that is reported, it is mandatory that the facility reports that to the Department of Health. So they don't want that bad PR with Department of Health, so they don't want to report it. So it's all brushed underneath the carpet. You know, and I've seen it happen so many times. You know, falsifying of records. The cleanliness is terrible. You know, you pull in my position, my assistants and my employees had to pull furniture out and repair things in rooms, and the floor people were cleaning the floors. Well, evidently the floor people weren't cleaning the floors very well. You know, and you pull them out and you had these big, huge 3-inch dust bunnies running across the floor. You know, this is sad, you know, in a place that's supposed to be sterile. So what my plan is we need to get a coalition built. And I know there's some other candidates that are running right now that would step up with me and work on this issue. The one is Todd Rowling. You know, we need to build this coalition. We need to go after the Department of Health. We need to go after CMS, and we need to hold these facilities responsible for the actions that they're doing. They're not being held responsible now. The Department of Health, they do yearly surveys, which for those that don't know, they enter a facility and they spend 4 or 5 days in there. Going through records and checking the facility, you know, watching nurses work, watching CNAs work. You know, they just go through the whole policy and procedure handbook. But I've already seen that they pulled out issues and nothing was done about it. The facility was not cited for it. You know, a lot of your surveyors become friends with the administration.
Yeah. And they give them a heads up. So if you know someone is visiting your house tomorrow, I'm sure you're going to clean up, tidy up, make sure everything looks perfect, even if it doesn't look like that in a daily basis. And that's why I think this issue is very important, to have a coalition, to have something to keep the ethic, like there has to be a line where we draw between relationship between the Department of Health and the nursing home administrators, or just basically giving them a heads up.
Well, and what I've been finding is, in talking with people in my experience through working in healthcare, is that the policies and procedures that are set are not followed, and the people that are not following are not being held accountable. If we would be at work and doing our job and we do something wrong, we'd be held accountable for it, supposedly. But that doesn't happen a lot of times in nursing homes. I've seen CNAs already slap a resident. And I knew that if I reported it, that I would probably be terminated.
Mm-hmm.
Did I walk away and say nothing? Absolutely not. I was in management. I talked to that person. I talked with that resident, and tried to, smooth things out a little bit and make sure that CNA knew it was wrong. They know it's wrong, but a lot of it comes down to training.
Consequences.
What's that?
They have to face consequences for their actions. Yep. And what would your coalition do? What are you proposing as a solution for this issue?
Well, what I want to do is, when I'm elected, we get the coalition built, and if we can't build a coalition, I will do it by myself. We need to meet with Department of Health. We need to meet with CMS, and we need to meet with Health and Human Services, and we need to go over all the policies and procedures that they have. We need to make sure that they are followed. We need to make sure they're up to date. Nursing home staffing is terrible.
And they all fit together.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have overworked staff, underpaid and overworked, then the result will be negligence. The result will be, we're human at the end, so people are going to act. That doesn't mean what they're doing is okay. But for everyone watching us now, thank you for watching, first of all. But if you have someone you care about, I'm sure you have a mother, you have a grandmother, you have a sister. Soon we all going to need care. Is that when you go to a nursing home or a place, a hospital or assisted living, is that the place that you want to be when you are old, to be by yourself? Is that a place you want to put your mother, your father, your grandfather? If the answer is no, then we need to do something. And that's why Janelle is acting now, and she is trying to make a difference. So go on, Janelle. You said the staffing.
Yeah, I mean the staff to patient ratio is way down. I know for a fact that a lot of times I had to go into work at 5:30 in the morning. I'd walk over. We had a wing in the one end that had 3 hallways. I think there was like 80 some residents in all 3 hallways. And I walked in there at 5:30 in the morning. There was 1 CNA all night for all them people. 1. There's no way that you can actually visit each resident every 2 hours and make sure the ones that needed turned were turned. Bed sores are a huge issue. And falls is another big issue. And a lot of your falls happen because of the call light situation. A resident will pull a call light for help. It could be 5 minutes. It could be an hour until somebody comes and helps them. I know that because I had to do surveys. I had to do inspections throughout the facility. And part of my job was going in the resident rooms and pulling the call light, sitting in the corner and timing how long it takes somebody to respond. I've sat there over an hour a couple times. And that's terrible. If a resident would have fell and hit their head or choking or something like that, they'd be gone. And that does contribute to a lot of nursing home deaths. Falls in a nursing home is one of the biggest accidents that happen. And the call light issue is just so huge. The Department of Health gives the nursing 3 to 4 minutes to respond to a call light. That's the policy. not 5 minutes, not 6 minutes, not an hour, not an hour and a half. You know, it's sad, and this is the stuff that they need to be held accountable for. And one other way that what we need to do is we need to up the frequency of surveys. And I know right off the bat, Department of Health is going to say we don't have the staff. Well, then you need to get them because people are dying.
Exactly.
You know, you need to get that staff. I recommend 3 surveys a year because I know what happens in between surveys. You know, you come in and we pretty much knew when the surveyor was coming. And, you know, like you said, Hagir, a little bit earlier, that you plan for that. You clean the place up, make it look good for them when they come. As soon as they leave, it all goes downhill again, you know, for another year. If a resident's family would call in with a complaint, Department of Health was to come in and find out and investigate that complaint. A lot of times they didn't do it because they don't have the staff, or it could have been a repeated resident or a repeated family member doing this over and over again. Doesn't matter if they keep doing it over and over again. One of these days it could be real.
Yeah.
You know, my mother-in-law was in the home that I worked in, and we had problems. And my wife's a stickler for following the rules, especially with medical. And there wasn't a whole lot she could do because I worked there, but you know, I made sure that the people that were negligent were held responsible for that. But you know, in saying that, and having my own family member in there, that, you know, you got to be constantly looking, you know, constantly watching, and that's hard to do when you're trying to do your job.
But that issue will be, I can't say 100% resolved, because we always going to have someone who is going to do something unethical. But if we go to the next issue that you have, and you're going to address the staffing issue. Throughout your statement, you saying the Department of Health don't have enough staff, that's why they can't do the survey. The nursing home, they work short. And again, you know, as a nurse myself, I seen it, I worked it, and I know how many hours you have to put sometimes because you don't have a relief. We need to address that. So what is your plan for staffing and shortages?
First thing is they need training.
Yeah.
I've seen so many CNAs become hired, and they are hired off the street because the facility needs a body. They send them to 2 days of classroom training, and that's it. They throw them on the floor, and they do not succeed. Or, you know, that's where you come in with the negligence of care, because they don't know. You know, I think the CNA class is supposed to be 2 or 4 weeks long. I can't remember, but you know, it doesn't happen that way, and that's one thing that we need to make sure of, that the training is provided that they need to have for caring. You know, I'm a big person on it takes a special person to do that kind of work. You know, and I think the facilities forget about that, and they just reach out their front door if somebody walks by and grabs them and brings them in and gives them a badge and said, "Here, you're a CNA now." You know, that's exactly what it seems like. You know, we got so many new CNAs, and I know other facilities other than the one I was in told me the same thing, that, you know, their first or second day on the job was their last days because they couldn't take it. They had no idea what they were supposed to be doing. The people that's been there for a while would chew them up and spit them out. You know, so, you know, training's number one.
Okay. Training.
Yeah, we need better pay. CNAs, as far as I'm concerned, are severely underpaid. You know, and a lot of nurses are underpaid, and depending what facilities they're in and working in. You know, somebody could offer me $200 an hour, and I would not do a CNA job. You know, that's how much I believe in the amount of pay that they get right now compared to what they should get. So we need that higher wage. We need better benefits. I think we had a total of 4 sick days a year, and that's not near enough for somebody that works in healthcare. You never know when you're going to pick up something. I was lucky enough that, I very rarely got sick, so most of the time I didn't use my sick days up. But there's people that did get sick, and, if they missed more than their sick days allowed, they were terminated. So this needs to be fixed. And we can fix it. But it's going to take more than me to do it. And that's why I have to reach out to the people and build that coalition with other legislators and candidates that are running today, that we can build this coalition and devise a plan and go into Department of Health and CMS and Health and Human Services and lay that plan out.
And if you all are following Janelle from the beginning, you can see how those issues all fit together. By correcting or trying to correct one issue, you can actually correct all of them. It is not going to happen magically. We don't have a magic wand to wave, or we don't have an answer right away, but we can all work together to achieve this goal and help Janelle. The first step of doing that is by voting for Janelle, giving her the chance to do everything that she said she's going to do. And if she doesn't do it, you have the next election. You can vote her out. And that's why we have election. But you have to give people a chance who are willing to help us and help our community. We have to give them a chance, help them help us. How can we help you, Janelle? How people can help you get to your goals?
The first and biggest thing, I guess, is vote for me on November 3rd.
Yeah.
I will not disappoint you. I can guarantee you that. We need, people, volunteers to help us, do door hangers and things like that. But most importantly is, like I said before, I want to work for and with the people. I'm going to be approachable. I'm going to be visible. And I'm going to listen. And to me, the most important thing is that I need to know what you, the people, want changed in your district. I have my platforms. You can go to my website and look at my platform issues that I want to advocate for. But I need to know your issues and your concerns. And that's why every week we have a listening hour. It's every Friday from 4 to 6. And I need to know, what your concerns are so that we can work together and get them resolved. There's a lot of division in our district, and we need to bring the people back together. And I feel that when elected, that I can do that. And like I said, I can't do it alone. I need the people behind me. And I'm hoping that the people see the good that I have done and my activism and my involvement in the community with the homelessness and the children being bullied and beaten up in school, trying to work with parents to stand up and speak out. They don't do that, and most of it's because of the retaliation that they're afraid of on themselves and their children. So that's where we as advocates come in. But
why we need to not just vote November 3rd. That's the most important part. But we have 15 days left. If you did not donate, if you did not volunteer, go to Janelle's website. I posted that website up, and I'm going to post it again. It is Janelle for PA199.com, and it's right there in the comment. Go there and hit the volunteer button. Help. Anything that you can do will help. Also, the donation. She's running a grassroots campaign. She's not taking money from anyone else. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Janelle, before we move forward?
Yeah. campaigning this year, and I think every candidate can agree with me, was very, very, very hard. You know, COVID hit at a time when we were campaigning and money was very, very tight. I instructed my committee and I instructed my volunteers that we will not deliberately ask any residents for any money. If they wanted to volunteer to donate money to us, that's fine, but I will not directly ask them for their money. They needed their money. Most of them were out of work. You know, they didn't get unemployment, or they got unemployment, but it still wasn't enough. They couldn't make their mortgage payments for whatever reason. They need that money. You know I was there before too. And to be honest with you, I'm there right now. But, you know, I would not directly ask somebody for money. So I didn't want to take PAC money either, because we are a grassroots, like Hagir said. And, you know, so we were trying to run on what we had. And luckily, not too long ago, a couple months ago, a woman from Turn PA Blue did an event for us called Trans Rights or Human Rights. And that brought in a lot of dollars for us. And ever since that event, we've been getting good donations. Can we use more? Absolutely. And you may think, well, you only got 15 days left. What are you going to do with that money? We still need to reach out to the people. You know, it's very hard reaching out during COVID because you can't get out personally and go door to door and meet individually with your constituents. We relied on social media, but we were very limited on social media because a lot of the local groups did not allow political posts. So, you know, we couldn't post in our local groups. So, you know, we were very, very, very limited, and we started getting our funds in, and this is why funds are so important. When I began my campaign, I thought you could run a money-free campaign, but guess what? I was wrong. Yeah, you know, I'm wrong sometimes. But, you know, the monies that are coming in, we got digital advertising now. We had door hangers. We got 5,000 door hangers that we went out and hung on people's doors. We have radio commercial on 102.9 WHYL. And we're going to be running our second commercial beginning tomorrow. So, you know, it's all things like that, and everything like that costs a couple bucks, you know. And so anybody that can donate, you know, please donate. It could be $1, it could be 50 cents, I don't care. You know, everything adds up. So, you know, that's one thing that, you know, I can proudly say, and I think my committee members can proudly say that, you know, we pretty much ran our own campaign, and we're very proud of that. Whether we win or lose, we're very proud of that.
And you should be. You should be. So here, you guys, you heard it. Most of those candidates run a grassroots campaign. They do need the help. If you, whatever you can, there is 15 more days, and we all have. This is all hands on deck situation. We have to do something. There is the volunteer, and we share those links with you. Reach out, contact, also talk about the issues. Janelle, I just want you to give us a good 10 minutes of why should we vote for Janelle. There's so many issues that we did not discuss. If you want to cover them and briefly go through all the issues that your campaign is focused about and why should people vote for you?
What the reason you should vote for me is, number one, like I said earlier, that, you know, I will work with you and for you. I will be visible, I will be approachable, and I will listen. We don't have that now. We haven't had that for quite a few years. The other one is communication. I'm big on, like I said, I'm big on communication. I want to build that trust, honesty, and respect with all my constituents. I want them to know that they can come to my door anytime and tell me their issues. Whether you just want to sit down and chat, that's fine. If you have a problem, that's fine. You know, whatever it is, I'm there to listen to you. And this is why I wanted to run for, to become your representative in the 199th, because we don't have that. We haven't had that in a long time. And the people need it. They need somebody that will listen. They need somebody that they can go to. I've talked to voters already that they didn't even know who their state representative was. You know, everybody says I'm a different kind of candidate, and you know, I hope that's true. You know, I think I am. You know, and I can prove that I am. You know, when I get elected, but it's going to take your votes. You know, to get me in that House seat. I'm different than the incumbent is right now in quite a few ways, and the one way is she's not approachable and she's not visible. Um, a couple other ways, you know, she doesn't listen. She doesn't want to communicate. And I think she's one of those people that um, got sucked into one of those cliques. So I'm not one to mudsling. I'm not one to bash my opponent, but I just want to make sure that the people know, you know, there is a difference between my opponent and me. And I think the people will be a lot more comfortable and secure and have that feeling of security with me being their representative.
And that's you know, why should we vote for Janelle? And there's issues that we didn't discuss. Janelle, can you just briefly go down? We did say something about the fair district in Pennsylvania. We did talk quite a bit about the nursing home care. And if you're just joining us, once we finish, you can go back and listen to the whole interview. We did talk about the nursing home and staffing. We talk about Janelle's vision and what she's going to do to help us all and help her district. We did not talk about the school funding and safety, the homelessness, and the equality for all. If you want to talk about that and why are those issues important to us?
First of all, my platform is built around leadership, justice, and equity and equality. And on my platform, you know, obviously we had nursing home care and staffing. We had school funding. School funding is way out of hand. The schools are having a big hardship due to lack of funds. And school safety is another issue. We haven't had a school shooting in our area for a long time, and I hope we never do. But it needs to be addressed, and we need to have school safety in the legislation now, not wait. It seems like every time there's a school shooting, everybody's gung-ho on trying to find ways to stop it, ways to prevent it. And it happens for like a month and it goes away. Things like this cannot go away. Things like this need to be kept visible, and they need to be constantly worked on. And I intend on doing that. Gun violence is another issue as far as gun reform. I am a gun owner, and I will not take your guns. I will not even think about taking your guns. But universal background checks is a biggie for me. You know, I feel that every firearm, there should be a background check on it, whether it be a shotgun, whether it be a pistol, whether it be, you know, a rifle. Automatic weapons need to be banned. You know, civilians do not need automatic weapons like they have. What are you going to do with it? You know, go out and shoot targets. You know, they got it to the point that the hunting season, you can use automatic weapons in hunting season. Come on now, how many times are you going to shoot a deer? You know, if you can't hit a deer in 2-3 shots, you may as well forget it. That deer is gone anyway. Why do you have to blow it apart? You know, so things like that need to be addressed. Climate change is another issue, especially in our area with all the warehouses and all the trucking. And improving infrastructure is another biggie. Our roads around here are terrible, and a lot of that is coming from the massive amount of truck traffic that we have. Homelessness is another issue. I work for Community Care's homeless shelter, and homelessness is becoming more and more of an issue, especially now that people cannot be evicted, and they extended that to the end of the year. And I'm glad of that they can't be evicted. But once that eviction notices over, what's going to happen? If them people couldn't pay their rent now, how are they going to pay it? Once that over, they're going to have to pay most of that back. So we need rent forgiveness. We need some kind of legislation for money for the landlords that they lost. So we need to work on that desperately. Equal pay and equality for women. It's another big issue that we all need to work on. And ensuring equality for all races, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, people in general. There's no reason why any of us have to be treated any different than another person. We are human beings. We don't need to be labeled as whatever people want to label us as. Labels belong in a cupboard, on a can, or a box. It doesn't belong on a human being. So these are things on my platform that, I am going to advocate for. But as I said earlier, that I need to know you, the voters, I need to know what your concerns are, what your issues are. I need to know that. And if you would, please go to my website and put them in the contact tab or comments. Leave me notes. Leave me your thoughts. I need your thoughts. Don't be afraid.
What you just said should be a slogan somewhere. I'm going to borrow it from you. I always refer to you. Label does not belong. Say it again. Say it again. This made my day, made me smile, and I had to just come up and out.
No human being should be labeled as anything other than a human being. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're blue. I don't care if you have a tail. I don't care if you're trans. I don't care if you're gay, if you're lesbian. There's no reason why people need to refer to you that way. You have a name for a reason. You have an identity for a reason. Use it. People need to use it. One thing, if I can bring it up quickly, that I'm very proud of through my advocacy is it took me a year and a half to do this, but I was able and instrumental in having an Amish person transition from male to female and remain in the Amish community and with their family. It was a very, very long, drawn out process because their religious beliefs didn't allow that. So when I went to talk with the bishop, the first thing he says, we don't condone homosexuality. I said, well, this is not homosexuality. This is completely different. So I had to explain that to him, and I worked and worked and worked. And the person that I was helping transition, she told me that if she could not transition and stay within the Amish community and stay with her family, that she would take her own life. So that put a big burden on me, that if I couldn't make this happen and she did that, how am I going to feel? I know it's not my fault because I tried, but I'm going to take it as my fault because I didn't succeed. And I'm the type of person that, I like to succeed in what I do. And I will go to any length that I need to go to succeed in doing that. Just like nursing home care and staffing. I'm not afraid to go after these people. I won't back down. Just like that bishop that I met with the Amish. I knocked on the door, he opened the door, and he was a giant. I'm just a little thing. And, I stood my ground. You can't show fear. I had enough fear. I had enough hate thrown at me in my younger years. And I'm oblivious to that now. I will never, ever get embarrassed. I will never, ever be scared. I will never be afraid of anything. And, that's one thing that I think would make me a good state representative, because I will not back down from.
That's one of many things, Janelle. You are an inspirational person. Just listening to you, it gives someone hope. And I'm sure so many people out there who are struggling with their own issue, they can relate to every word that you said. You are first in so many things. You made history, and you are going to make history now by being the first transgender, openly transgender, running for office. And when you win, I am sure you will be by everyone's side. You are going to listen. And I hope everyone listening to us right now heard Janelle and heard the sincerity and heard how she's going to make a difference, not just in her community, but this is going to affect the whole state and hopefully the whole 50 states. Someone out there will be listening to Janelle right now and feel hope. I am sure someone is struggling like your friend who is struggling between the choice of being themselves or being with their family. And you became that light, stop them from taking their own life and committing suicide. And I hope you will be elected so you can take us from the suicide mission that we are in right now. And it's not just helping, the people in the 199 district, but you definitely helped me. And I'm sure you helped a lot of our listeners. To learn more about Janelle, go to her website. We posted that website many times on the top of the video and in the comments as well. There is so many issues that she's passionate about. We couldn't even discuss it. We need another time with her. And when you get elected, we're going to follow up with you. We're going to have you here and talk about what you did and what we can help you to accomplish. And I'm sure you're going to accomplish so much more for the community. Just few last words for everyone that's joining us who doesn't know you, and what do you want to say to them?
I just want to say thank you, for your support, and I hope I continue to get your support up through November 3rd. That vote means a lot to me. That vote means a lot to the committee. That vote, because they work so hard. That vote means a lot to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania as a state is excited about my campaign. The Democratic Party is excited about my campaign. And it's not only because I'm the first trans woman to run for state elected office in PA. It's because of my determination in doing what I say I'm going to do. And it's like Hagir said, if you vote me in, you don't like me, vote me out. That's democracy. That's the American way, and that's the way it needs to be. And unfortunately, it's not that way right now. So, I'm stressing that, take it to heart. You want change. You, the people, are the only ones that can make change. And that change can be started on November 3rd by voting for Janelle. And as I always say, walk with Janelle.
And we are going to walk with Janelle. And every Friday, she has a listening hour. I will post the information at the end of this video. And if you just joined us or you joined us in the last 10 minutes, as soon as we finish, you can go back and listen. It's worth your time. Please listen. Please share. Go to her Facebook page. Go to the website. Share it with everyone you know. Even if you don't live in the 199th district, there is something that you can do. If you know someone that lived there, encourage them to learn about Janelle and vote for her. You can also volunteer. You can make phone calls, text. You can donate. There's so many ways that you can help in the next 15 days. So please use your voice and use your time wisely and be the change that you want to see in this world. Thank you very much for listening to us, and thank you, Janelle, for giving us the time. And we wish you the best of luck, and we will be there behind you every step of the way to support you until you win this election. And we will see you guys on Friday.
Okay, thank you all, and thank you, Hagir, again. Appreciate it.